Hey guys, welcome back to some more reviews. I am HorrorBoy465, aka Nate Murphy. Welcome back to some more reviews. And today I am up early in the morning and I am in the movie reviewing mood, so I decided to pick this movie off the shelf. And it was a movie that I believe I reviewed twice before. So it's my third time reviewing it, but believe me, this review will stay up. I don't plan on deleting any more of my videos ever again. So this is going to be the actual permanent review that's going to be on this channel. And that, of course, is on the film Dark Ride, which came out in 2006. Now, this was, of course, part of the 8 Films to Die For list. I believe they actually released a newer set of DVDs. Of course, this was around the time when Lionsgate was doing these sort of things. Try to get some extra money, I guess. And I really didn't see a lot of the other ones. I do own the other ones. Not all of them, but I do own Unearthed, Unrest, and the... I can't remember. I can't see what that one, the other one's called. But I might remember the name of the other one in a second. But I have Unrest, Unearthed, this one, and one other one. But the only other one that I've seen so far is The Grave Dancers, which I wasn't too impressed with, honestly, guys. Oh, we have freaking hair, it's like right there in my face. But, gosh dang it, freaking hair, get the freak on my face. But, I really didn't see the other films on here. You got Wicked Little Things, that's what it's called, The Abandoned, guy. That's what the movie's called, The Abandoned. You got Penny Dreadful, we got Hamilton's Reincarnation, of course, Dark Ride, which this little booklet comes with every single DVD, I believe. You know, pretty good. You open it up, the other movies are in there from the list, and on the back of it, you sort of get a list of the movies. Get this sort of hot chick on the front cover with the weird monster thing on her back. Of course, you get the DVD. See, the After Dark Horror Fest. Pretty much, I guess it was Lionsgate trying to get some extra money rolling in, so they released 8 films to die for. Honestly, guys, from what I've seen so far, I wasn't the biggest fan of The Grave Dancers. I don't know, I haven't seen it in a long time. Last time I seen it was on Sci-Fi, but I was not too impressed with it. But this film, I can honestly watch it for being a decent slasher film. Is it a flawless, amazing piece of, art of a horror film? Definitely not. It's far from that. It's just a decent, I don't know, to me, a decent time waster slasher film. You got some decent practical effects, some decent kills. I love the idea of taking place in sort of this, have you guys ever been to fairs before? If you guys ever went to a fair before and there's those little haunted house sort of rides, this is sort of what it's based off of, sort of a ride that's basically a haunted house. And cool idea, fun idea, don't mind the look of the killer. Pretty much wears a sort of a baby doll mask, something like that. Basically cut the face off of one of the mannequins and put it on, and looks like this, a little bit like this. Creepy killer, but decent practical effects, decent gore effects. It's a slasher film, so you're gonna get some nudity and a body count in there. Look at the killer, I didn't mind, and I love the idea of taking place in a haunted house ride. Gave it an atmosphere. But this film is not the strongest in story, and it's definitely the strongest in characters, because these characters suck. They have terrible acting. Not one person in this group was that good. Maybe the guy from The Sandlot did a decent job. Patrick Renna. He played a character called Bill. Maybe him. It was okay. Although I'll get to the twist at the end of the review, towards the end of the review, but kind of a bullcrap twist. I mean, one of those twists where I was just like, first of all, I don't freaking care, and it was a twist that was lackluster, which I'll get to, and it was totally out of left field. I don't understand why they had to put that twist in there. It was not shocking. I honestly didn't give a crap. But there's this freaking twist in there, which I'll get to in a second. Um, but the story is pretty basic. You got these 6 college kids, smoking weed, drinking, having some fun. They're gonna go drive to. They're gonna go on a road trip, and pretty much on their road trip, they pick up a hitchhiker. You know, she's a blonde-haired, hot chick, really wild, sort of, not out. I don't want to say outgoing, but free spirited, I guess. Outgoing. She's I believe she smokes weed and stuff like that. I can't remember, but I do know that she's your typical blonde in a horror film. You know, and she joins along with them, and pretty much they stop by this amusement park attraction named Dark Ride, and it's pretty much a haunted house. You sit in this thing, it takes you to this haunted house ride. Cool idea, and it's a practical atmosphere. Everything's practical, so it has all those fun things that are always in those haunted houses that you go to when you're at a fair or a carnival or something like that. You have those dummies and things that try to jump out and scare you, but they don't scare you. Cheesy looking objects and stuff like that, and it was a fun idea. And of course, you find out about this killer. You find out that the monstrous killer Jonah, I believe that's what his name is, just Jonah. But pretty much you get a flashback at the beginning of the film where you find out that pretty much this killer Jonah, he had murdered these twin girls at this attraction, and he pretty much got sent to a mental asylum. And you find out that his face is all deformed, and that's why he wears a mask, and he's a cannibal. And at the beginning of the film, he sort of kills these 2 people, and starts eating them, I believe. So creepy killer. Not really a lot of different between him and all the other typical killers, but still decent idea. I don't mind the idea of him put on this sort of doll mask thing. Look creepy, and pretty much he goes back to the attraction or the ride. And when he comes back, those people, these teenagers are there, and he just starts killing them off one by one. And that's when the film becomes a decent slasher film, because you got some inventive death scenes. They find this one dude, he's dead, and he's just got ropes around his arm and stuff like that, like he's moving like this, like the dead body's moving like this, as if it was part of the ride. You got a weird death scene involving the blonde-haired chick giving a blowjob to one of the dudes, and she gets her head cut off while she's in the middle of giving the dude a blowjob, and he doesn't even notice that she's getting her head cut off. He's still enjoying it and stuff like that, and she decapitated. And it was sort of one of those weird, like, oh, okay, that was definitely a different death scene than other horror films. The character, Jonah, just decapitates her, cuts her head off. The guy realizes that she's got her head cut off, and then I believe he gets knocked out. A couple other death scenes happen, I believe. I really can't remember them that good. But a couple other ones do happen that are pretty decent. And again, what is really good about this film, though, is the atmosphere of the attraction, the haunted house sort of thing, the haunted house ride. It's oh my god, guys, it's done well. I got a major tongue twister there, but it's done well, and the atmosphere is great. I mean, you got a bunch of these cheesy, dummy, jump scare themes. A lot of like those typical things you always see in the rides, these dummies and stuff like that. And this guy's going around killing them in this place, and you got pretty much at the end of the film, you got the final girl and the guy who got a blowjob. He's still alive. That's when you find out the freaking bullcrap twist that I guess supposed to be shocking, where pretty much you find out that the character Jonah is the older brother to the Bill character, and the Bill character just kills the guy who got a blowjob, just stabs him, and then it's after Jonah gets stabbed by multiple knives, I believe, because the main character killed Jonah, And the Bill character talks about how he was a younger brother to Jonah and saw his brother murder these people, and I guess approved of it or something like that. I honestly didn't care about this twist. It was supposed to be like one of those shocking moments, but I was just like, okay, it doesn't really, and plus he doesn't even try to kill the girl. So, or at least I don't remember him trying to kill the girl. If he does, I can't remember it at all. But you just found that he killed, that he killed the dude. I believe he doesn't even try to attack the girl or something like that, or I believe she kills him. I can't remember. But, that's pretty much the end of the film. He kills the guy who got the blowjob. The girl pretty much survives, from what I can remember. And that's pretty much the end of the film. As far as camera work goes, nothing really much special. It's not like it's an expertly handled film. Just your typical shots and stuff like that. Again, the story's not that good. Your typical story. Although the inclusion of the haunted house ride was definitely a cool idea. But the atmosphere of the haunted house ride, cool atmosphere. I really love that idea. Didn't mind the look of the killer with this sort of baby doll mask. Creepy look for the killer. Decent death scenes, decent makeup effects. This is kind of a short review, but I really don't have that much to say about Dark Ride other than it's a decent slasher film. And if you guys really enjoy those slasher films with, gore and it's got nudity and, practical effect, which is always nice. I gotta give respect for that. It does have practical effects. But there's not really any likable characters. Maybe Bill. But then again, I don't know. The cast is pretty much useless. The characters are freaking boring. Acting is terrible in this film. You got some really bad acting. But you do got an atmosphere of the haunted house ride. You've got a decent look for the killer. Decent death scenes, decent gore effects and makeup effects, practical effects. Again, the music wasn't that good either. Don't really remember any of the music. But for what it is, it's supposed to be a slasher film, and as a slasher film, I think it's actually pretty decent. It's definitely not a classic slasher film. It's not a great slasher film. It gets a 4.6 on IMDb, and it was directed by Craig Singer, which sounds familiar. I'm gonna see what else he's done. It sounds like a familiar director. He's only directed 9 films, and those are films including A Good Night to Die, Dead Dogs Lie, and Animal Room. And the rest of these films are just shorts. And of course, he made Dark Ride, which that name sounded familiar for some reason, but none of those films none of those films I know about. So whatever. But Dark Ride, for what it is, it's decent. Practical effects, terrible acting though, terrible plot, not much for the plot. I hate the freaking twist, barely even a freaking twist. A twist that I'm honestly I don't give a crap about. I don't really care. Nothing good to the music. But again, for what it is, it's part of the 8 films to die for, so you're not gonna get anything spectacular. Again, I think that Lionsgate only made these just to make some extra bucks. Which I believe these were actually pretty popular because they got like a second. And I believe they have this, release of DVDs, which is the original release of DVDs. I believe they made a second release, and I believe recently they made a third release. But then again, guys, I could be wrong about that, so don't quote me on that. But I do believe that because I do have Unearthed, and Unearthed isn't part of the list right here. So I don't know, maybe maybe that's part of a new release of like a second release of 8 Films to Die For. But it's decent. Practical effects are there, gore effects are there, death scenes are there. The killer is this is definitely a creepy and good look for the killer. Different look for the killer, and it has an atmosphere with the haunted house ride. But then again, guys, it's not spectacular. It's not amazing. It's just your typical basic, decent slasher film. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching my review for Dark Ride, and I will see you guys on the next review. Bye, guys.